5 days to intentionally schedule on your calendar before the year ends. That's what we're talking about today. I want to give you an idea of 5 days that you should schedule, and I'm planning to schedule on my calendar before the year ends because I think by doing that, we're going to be able to have a more intentional end of the year. It's going to help us feel more at balance, and it's going to help us also get more things done, be more productive, and start planning for the new year and start dreaming for what we're going to do in 2025, what we want to accomplish, all of those things. So let's start with the first one, which I am calling an unplug day. I want to kick things off with an unplug day because let me ask you this. Can you imagine going a full 24 hours without technology? I can't. I really can't. We're constantly plugged in, responding to emails, checking notifications, scrolling through social media, and sometimes we forget how draining that can be. An unplugged day is a full detox from the noise. It's a day to focus on what's happening around you and inside you without distractions. Now, I've never tried this before, and if you haven't tried this ever before, I think it can feel a little bit intimidating. I think you might be thinking, what will I do all day without my phone? I'm asking that question to myself as well, but trust me, after a few hours, I think we're going to find that our mind starts to clear, and we're going to notice that things that we haven't noticed before. The way that the air feels, how our body feels, how more fully present we can be, maybe even the quality of our thoughts change. I am planning this unplugged day on a major holiday because I want to kill two birds with the same stone. So for me, I am going to pick Christmas Day for this because I think that is the perfect day to really disconnect from technology and be fully present. Now I need to think about how I'm going to solve for taking the pictures, but I have a camera, so that's no problem at all. But you see the point, right? Like being intentional on when you schedule each of these, say, 5 days can make a difference. So think about when could you envision having this unplugged day. For me, is going to be Christmas Day. I think that when you step away from devices, when I've done this for a shorter period of time, never a full day, I think that something powerful happens. You become more present, right? You start to notice the small things around you. Maybe it's the way the trees are changing with the season, or the sound of the kids laughing in the other room. That kind of presence fills our emotional tanks in a way that constant digital noise just can't do. So, as I said, I'm thinking for me it's going to be Christmas Day. It's going to be my designated unplugged day before the end of the year. Now, I can see myself, depending how this experiment goes, doing this once a month. Imagine once a month having an unplugged day. And now that I'm thinking about it, any of these 5 days that I'm going to share with you today could be kind of like a monthly thing. Like every month, schedule one of these 5 days, or all 5 days, or multiple of these 5 days in our calendars. So, in order for this to work, this is what I'm thinking. I'm going to block that day off in my calendar, and I'm actually going to put it on my calendar, unplugged day, and treat it like an unbreakable appointment with myself. And I'm going to use the time to reflect on things and just be present. Maybe I'm going to carve out a little bit of time that day to journal a little bit, to take a walk outside, weather permits, or just simply, watch movies with my family or play with the gifts and just be present and enjoying that quality family time. This day for me is about creating space to recharge and reset. It's about a time to break free from the noise of technology and really experience how it feels to be really present. Okay, the next day that I am planning to schedule before the end of the day is a solitary day. I'm calling it this way because I think that way it can be something I schedule going forward, like on a monthly basis. But for me, this is about, it's more than just being alone, right? It's about reconnecting with myself. It's the final months of the year. We're pulling in so much directions, family gatherings, holiday events, the end of the year work deadlines. All this noise, it's easy to lose sight of our personal goals. It's easy to lose sight of that valuable end of the year reflection. And here's where this day comes in. This is a day just for you, just for me. It's about prioritizing whether it's your passions or setting intentions for the new year, maybe even indulging in a little bit of self-care. Really anything that you want to do that is meaningful to do. Maybe is an opportunity to pursue some personal goals. Maybe it's an opportunity to reflect on the year and do your planning for next year. That's something that I do every year. So for me, this is going to be the day that I'm going to do that. Is the day that I'm going to do like my year-end reflection, planning for 2025. Recently, I share the calendar audit. This can be a great day to do a calendar audit as well. So really is a day to do something that is important to you and only you without distractions. And I think also for this day, even though technology is permitted, turning off notifications, closing out your email can be a good idea. So you can minimize distractions and really spend time with yourself. For me, I'm going to do a lot of journaling, probably a lot of reflection. I'm going to do a vision board maybe this day, which is part of my process on how I plan for the next year. So yeah, there you go. The second day is a solitude day or a plan your 2025 day. It's a day which you're making an appointment with yourself. It's a date with yourself to reflect on the year and plan for the next year. The next day that I am planning before the year ends is a get things done day. I don't know about you, but by the end of the year, there's always a list of things that I've been putting off. Whether it is organizing my home, decluttering my workspace, catching up with appointments, like making doctor's appointments, like closing out my FSA, like all of these random things that keep accumulating. And let's be honest, these things weigh on us. They sit in the back of our minds, creating unnecessary stress. So this day is about finally tackling all of those tasks that you've been avoiding. Scheduling this one day before the end of the year. Maybe you need more than one day, depending on how long your list is. And this can also be a great thing to do once a month going forward, is just a day to focus on getting organized and tackle those things that you've been putting out. And I think we're going to feel lighter, more focused, and ready to finish the year strong. Imagine how much better you'll feel in January if you've already taken care of all those nagging to-dos. The key to making this day work, though, is to focus on progress and not perfection. Maybe you don't clean out the entire garage in one day, but you can make serious dent into it. Maybe you don't finish organizing all the things, but progress over perfection, right? The point is to chip away at the clutter, both physical and mental, so you can enter the new year with a clean slate. And for me, that decluttering and that tackling of things is mostly my to-do list. All these things that I've been putting out, that I've been procrastinating on, that are just making noise, that all of a sudden I wake up in the middle of the night and remember that I need to do that. Oh, I needed to do this appointment and I didn't. I'll do it tomorrow. And then the day comes and I get busy and I don't do it. So what I would recommend, this is what I'm doing. I started a list of all the things. Because let's be honest, some of these things are not even on a piece of paper yet. So the first step is do a brain dump and make a list of all of these things that you need to do that you would like to be done with before the year ends. Create that list and then schedule one day before the year ends where you're going to focus on tackling the things in that list. Some might be small things like making a doctor's appointment. I don't know why we're procrastinating those, or I at least do, to decluttering your garage. So make a list, put a day in your calendar. For me, it's going to be a weekend, a Saturday or a Sunday before the year ends. And I'm going to use that day, the entire day, as long as I can go, to tackle things on that list. Now, if you pick a weekend, like I'm thinking to do, there might be things that you can do in a weekend, like doctor's appointment. Maybe the office is closed. So maybe it's half day on a Friday and half day on a Saturday. Be creative. Don't use those things as excuses not to get things done. I assure you that you're going to feel so productive. I know these things might seem insignificant, but when you create the momentum on crossing these things off your list, you're going to feel so powerful. You're going to feel so realized. You're going to feel so productive. And that energy is going to transpire into the next week and the following days. And you're going to be much more productive in other things that were not on that list. So get things done day. Number 4 is a learning day. A learning day is where we invest in our personal growth. This is one of my favorite things. I do this on a daily basis. As part of my last 90-day challenge that I share with you, I do at least 15 minutes of learning every single day during the last 90 days of the year. But this is about carving a full day, like a day, at least 8 hours of learning. Just because we're nearing the end of the year doesn't mean we should stop learning. In fact, this is a great time to sharpen your skills and prepare for the next chapter. Maybe you want to take an online course or attend a workshop or finally finish that book that you've been meaning to read. The beauty of Learning Day is it's your time to explore something new or deepen your understanding in an area that excites you. It could be something directly related to your career or something more personal. Either way, it's about broadening your horizons. And as we prepare for 2025, ask yourself, what do you want to learn that will set you up for success next year? The goal here isn't to overwhelm ourselves with more to-dos, but to intentionally carve out time to grow and to invest in our personal development. The more we learn, the more we can contribute to our work, to our families, to ourselves, to our communities. So I love this idea of a learning day. And actually, this is something that I want to carry into 2025 and once a month have like a learning day. That seems exciting to me, but I'm a little bit of a nerd. I'm a lifelong learner. I love learning. I love investing time in personal development. And for me this year, I am going to be attending an online event. That's going to be my learning day. And I am planning that in November, and it's going to be amazing. Okay, the last day that I'm planning to schedule before the year ends is a play day. Arguably the most fun and yet often the most neglected day. We're so focused on being productive that we forget how important it is to just let go and have fun. A play day, it's all about reconnecting with our inner child and rediscovering the joy of doing something just for the sake of it. In this last months of the year, this last weeks of the year, when everything feels so serious and urgent and there's this pressure to finish things because of this big deadline of the end of the year, this day can feel like a breath of fresh air, and it's Depending on where you live and the weather, could be going outside for a ride on your bike. It could be trying something new, like I am planning to do an art class with my daughter. Play is not a waste of time. It's how we stay creative, how we stay joyful, and we connect with what really matters. So when we allow ourselves to have fun, we return to our work and our responsibilities with a renewed sense of energy. So don't wait until January to make time for joy. Schedule it into your calendar now. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Okay, so those are the 5 days that I'm intentionally scheduling in my calendar. And seriously consider to take this practice into 2025. Now, let's talk for a moment about why these 5 days are so important. Each one serves a different purpose: rest, solitude, organization and productivity, learning, and play. But together, they create a balanced life. We often think that in order to succeed, we have to hustle in a nonstop way, right? Hustle, hustle, hustle. But the truth is that true success, especially in the final months of the year, comes from finding a rhythm that works for us. So by scheduling these days before the year ends, you're creating space for growth, for clarity, and for joy. You stop running on an empty and start feeling more intentional with your time and with your energy. And when you look back on these final months, you'll see progress, not just in your work, but also in your personal well-being. That is the goal and the intention of scheduling these 5 days. I want to share with you a personal story. A few years ago, I was so focused on finishing the year strong that I completely burned out. I thought I needed to work harder and faster and longer to get everything done. I was so overwhelmed by my long list of to-dos. And by the time December rolled around, I was so exhausted. I didn't feel proud of how I had spent my time. And I couldn't even enjoy the holidays. And that year taught me a valuable lesson. And that is that you don't have to push yourself to the brink to be successful. Since then, I've made the point to schedule time to rest, to reflect, and to play. And guess what? I'm more productive now than I've ever been before. And that inspired me to think about these 5 days. As we are approaching this last few weeks of the year, I was thinking, okay, how do I want to go about this few weeks, this few months that are left in the year, so I can really finish the year strong? And when I say strong, it's not just from a productivity standpoint, but from a well-rounded, balanced approach, right? And these 5 days that we've talked about today, I know can be a game changer, and I'm so excited to try it out. And I hope that you do the same. And I can see how this is something, as I said before, that I take into 2025. And every month I schedule some or all of these 5 days into my schedule. So as a wrap up for today's episode, I want to leave you with a challenge. I want you to look at your calendar for the next 3 months from now until the end of the year and try to schedule at least one of these 5 days before the year ends. And if you are a go-getter, schedule all 5 of them. Maybe you need an unplugged day to rest or a play day to bring more joy back to your routine. Whatever it is, block it off on your calendar and commit to it. I'd love to hear how it goes. So I'd love to hear through your messages in social, LinkedIn, Instagram. Let me know how it goes. I'm curious and excited for you to try it. I'm definitely going to try all 5 of them. And I think this is going to really help us end 2024 strong and set into 2025 with clarity, with balance, and with a sense of joy. Remember, you got this, and I'm right here cheering you on. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you next week for another episode of the Leading Yourself podcast.